How am I supposed to do this speech now that I'm crying?
God bless you. God bless you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Oh, sorry, just get me to catch my thoughts. I've been crying since this started. And I've been crying not because I'm saddened, but because I am so moved to see how many people I had behind until tonight, because I thought I was on my own. I'm going to go back and just give you the backstory of what happened and how it happened, because the book is out there, as you can see, and I intend to link it to a charity to support it as much as I can with everything that I have still. But I was born and raised in a Muslim family in former Yugoslavia, and which happened to be Serbia now. We went through a war where we fought each other. We were like in a frying pan. The entire human rights were taken away. We didn't even know they existed. Our country went through war for decades, and those decades turned into a never-ending nightmare. As the time went on and I was 17, my dad asked me, we were having a chat, he's a doctor, and he said, Lurata, have you thought what you want to be when you're a bit older? Oh, I said, Dad, that's so nice that you asked me. I said, I want to be a doctor just like you. He said, but what do you mean just like me? I mean, what is it about me? I just said, the way you help people. Oh, he sat me down. It doesn't really say much, bless him. And he goes, Lurata, look, if helping people is what you want to do in life, you're going to find a way to do that. Because the way things are, I don't think you're going to be going to university. And me being a 17-year-old, I got all in a strop. I'm like, how dare you, father? I've got all these grades. I'm doing really well at school. Are you doubting me, surely? And I was the only child as well. All I wanted to do is just be as good as they were with everyone and everything they did. They were like, I was looking up to them. And so my dad knew something that I learned the hard way. War was on our doorstep. We were at war. There was no way my generation went, or even further other generations after me, that did go to university, regardless of their dreams that they had. And so this one evening, we heard these huge footsteps coming into our garden. And my dad got a little bit panicked, and he's a very calm man. He would never panic. Oh, he said, something's really wrong. We got outside and we were being marched by the soldiers of Serbian soldiers into the crease of the mountains. And their point was to make the biggest massacre that ever been, bigger than the ones they've done in Bosnia. And I point out because Bosnia is sort of up from us. We were in the south on the border with Serbia, Macedonia and Kosovo. And into this crease of the mountain, there was a lot of negotiation. We thought we were dying that night. But I'm not going to spoil the book too much. My dear uncle, may God bless his soul, he gave his entire wealth to bribe the government, to bribe the army that was formed during the war, to free these people just to have one more night at home. And it worked. He was a farmer. He worked with animals. But somehow he was amazing at negotiation. And he basically saved everyone's life for the moment. My dad sat me down and he said, Lurata, I can't have you here. This was like pretty much a couple of days later. He said, the soldiers are killing and raping at will. Why don't you cross through the mountains into Kosovo, where the United Nations, the peacekeepers, my bad, are in Kosovo, and seek for the Red Cross? I said, Dad, I can't do that. I can't walk through the mountains and crossing borders. I'm only 17. He said, you have to do this for me. Crossing the borders, ending up in the streets of Kosovo, completely on my own, lost in the dark fall. And I ended up in front of this bar where I was discovered by 2 American police officers, which served as peacekeepers, Peter O'Brien and Brian O'Reeves. They are both mentioned in the book. They're still my friends. We managed to get in touch and make that connection again. And I said to them, take me to the Red Cross. They said, we can't take you to the Red Cross. And I couldn't speak English, by the way. It was a translator, an Albanian-speaking translator, because I speak fluent Serbian and Albanian. And he said, but we can give you shelter in our home. And I was very cautious. 2-man, Muslim girl. Do I go? I don't know them. Americans, different faith to me, and all these doubts in my head. War zone back home. I had zero choice but to follow them. And they became my best friends. They gave me shelter. They respected me, and they taught me that religion and what have you, race and color matters not if you've been raised in the right way and you serve the one purpose, and that's to do good. So they said, never leave our apartment without us. And I said, well, what's the worst that could happen? This is within a few weeks with them, months with them. I went outside to pick up a magazine to read it in Albanian because I thought I'm just bored, and getting to the point where I got taken. As I walk outside, I had this big squeaking wheels van, black van, just pulls in front of me. And I'm literally about to say, whoa, watch out, kind of thing. Like, what are you doing? You're on top of the pavement. But this was a thought in my head. I didn't even have the chance to translate it into words. Next thing I knew, I couldn't see. I had this thing over my head. I got dragged into the car, this truck. And I could smell the petrol of the truck and like this van. And they're speaking in Albanian, and they're saying, we've got her, and many more words, because I don't wish to say tonight, but you can read the book. And I realized I was in trouble. And I wanted to pinch myself to see whether I was dreaming it. And they took me to the boss. And the boss gave the order, so he wanted to watch me being raped. And it was big guys, and I was 17 and weak and naive. And as they pulled everything off me and they dragged me to the floor, I don't know why I did what I did, but I really screamed. I said, please don't do this, I'm a virgin. And everything stopped. And I didn't realize why it stopped, but he said, wow, we have stumbled across a huge cargo. And I'm thinking, cargo? I mean, that's like trucks and like goods in my head. He said, wow, she is worth a lot of money, isn't she, boys? Money. I'm thinking, what money? You know, I'm still questioning it. Soon I got shown what they were preparing me to do. So they groomed me, they kept me with them. They didn't touch me sexually, but they made me watch a lot of stuff. And ultimately, I decided that no matter what it took, I wasn't ready this to be my end. I needed to do something for my parents, for the love I had for my parents, because I knew if I gave in, that's it. My parents would never know what happened to me. And lo and behold, that little girl, she made sure every time we were out and about, I made a scene. To the point where the boss had enough. I was sold to the highest bidder. On the process of being given to them, we got stopped at the border and returned back. So we couldn't cross the border for a few days. So they said, we can't keep sitting at the border. We have to move. And I made sure I would cause a scene at the bars while I was going to the toilet. And so people noticed I was in distress. And they started raising alarms behind the scene. And when that one evening, the final evening when I escaped them, they gave the order to kill me, rape me, kill me, and dispose my body like they've done with other girls that I watched rape and kill. And that's when I got really scared. And the evening of the night that I was supposed to die, I have never prayed to Allah like I have prayed that night. I've never prayed before like that, and I don't think I've ever done it again. May He forgive me, but a magic happened that night when I prayed, and I laid on sajda, and I said, I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. God opened the door for me, and 2 doors. And I made sure when I walk down those doors and those steps, I fall into the hands of police officers. And I give an interview, and these people get arrested, but never held accountable, because when they go to Hague or they go to these places, why do they have access? So much power to walk away from it, to get out of it. I escaped them. I'm very lucky, but unfortunately my story didn't end there. I gave my interview, which served them somehow to be arrested and serve some kind of justice. But unfortunately, when I returned back to Serbia, the soldiers that were formed during the war in Serbia were waiting for me, and they imprisoned me for 6 months in a very small room. And the night that they interrogated me, they broke my nose, they broke my ear, my jaw. They branded me. I had a huge brand on my calf, which I had to erase. And then they put me in this dark room for 6 months. And they raped me daily. And they abused me daily, psychologically and physically. And I gave in. And again, it wasn't my time. And because it wasn't my time, I realized God was speaking to me, because He was preparing me for this. He was preparing me. He realized my soul could handle so much that I wasn't to be silent once I made it through. But I didn't know until I healed. It took years to heal. It took people like yourselves, took loads of men to regain my trust in men, to be able to create life, to have 2 boys that I have been blessed with, and to have many men in my life that constantly guide me and support me and put up with my nightmares, including my husband. And women that never give up on another woman. They don't get threatened by another woman, because we are not here. This is not a competition. This is a journey, and our fight can only be won, or at least eliminated, the bad by doing good. But had somebody told me there is people like you in the world, I would have spoken out a lot sooner, because I feel all this time that I was just this echo and not a voice. I wasted so much time, and how many lives I could have saved. And now I want to be the voice and not the echo anymore. And the survivors of such crime, please understand them when they don't want to speak up, because it is first they're going to feel ashamed, and they're going to feel scared. And they're not going to trust anyone. So trust is rebuilding them slowly. We have to respect that. But with this, I would like to also touch base. It is about 150 million people, statistically speaking, by CIA has reported it to me directly, an agent. The 150 million people get trafficked every year. Where are these people going? And what's happening? How can we not see it in the borders? You take something in your pocket, they immediately see, like, oh, you've got scissors. Really? Scissors? What about these humans that you guys are just putting a blind eye to? So unfortunately, hierarchy is involved, and is involved big. But I said something last night when I did a speech. We are majority, and we are watching it happen. They are minority, and they are earning money out of our loved ones, of people like myself. Maybe you are not directly affected, but if you were to look deeper, you'll find that you know many people that have been through something. So say no to human trafficking, support the books, I can support the charity, and I'm going to continue to speak, and I am not afraid of them. They are still at large, and they've taken many Syrian children when they went through Serbia and Kosovo on the border. And I watched it from Singapore, and nothing I could do about it. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for supporting this cause, this charity. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me here. It's such an honor. I don't know what more I can say. I can't thank you enough. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.